This is the ASL to English video. Hi, my name is Shanna Weinsberg, and I'm here to talk about children and immunizations. So why do people get immunizations? I want to talk about two different perspectives. I want to talk about those people who are for and against it, and first I want to talk about people who are for it. Today, diseases are becoming rare because of immunizations, and I want to explain one example that maybe will help you understand that better. If you're on a boat and all of a sudden it gets flooded with water, you need to get the water out, right? And then when the water is out, you feel a lot safer. However, if you are ignoring the water or you don't get it out, then you'll have to get the water out again. And this concept is the same for diseases. If you continue to immunize children, then the diseases or the incidence of diseases will go down. And if you don't, they will become more common. So if you get rid of the water, for example, in the boat, then you get rid of the diseases and you don't have to deal with it anymore. So that is one of the reasons why people are in favor of immunizations in order to eradicate diseases. Here you can see a list of all of the countries that did eradicate or reduce diseases. One example is Japan. Back in around the 1970s or so, they had a very good program for pertussis, which is also like a whooping cough for young kids, and about 80% of their children got inoculated, and there were about 390 cases every year. In 1976, there was some talk that immunizations were dangerous and it was best not to do that, and so people stopped getting immunizations. And only about 10% of the children got immunized. And a few years later, the incidence of pertussis went up drastically and was about 13,000 cases in 1 year. So then the country decided that they had made a mistake and decided to immunize the children again. And by 1981, the percentage or the number of cases had gone down significantly. So here you can see several of the countries that had a similar story. We know that diseases are a big threat. Here are some of the threats: polio, hepatitis, mumps, invasive HIV diseases, all these different things. Rubella, measles, tetanus. So all of these things can cause brain damage, they can cause heart and liver failure, they can cause cognitive disabilities and even death. So we definitely want to eradicate these diseases. Tetanus, for example, is still a big problem all over the world. And about 300,000 babies, and I need to double check that figure. Tetanus, for example, is a big problem all over the world, and every year about 300,000 babies and 30,000 mothers die because they have not been inoculated against that disease. Mumps is a disease that we really don't have anymore because of the immunizations that we have today. I also want to talk now about why some people are against immunizations. Some people think that immunizations cause autism, and really nobody knows what the real cause of autism is. Some people feel, though, that it is connected with all of these shots. There was a decision to do a study in 2000 of the MMR vaccine, and it has a chemical in there called I haven't been able to catch that. A chemical in that called thimerosal, and it's a preservative that people believe causes autism. So there was this study, and at the same time, Europe was doing a similar study trying to get rid of that particular preservative because they wanted to make sure that their inoculations were safe. A few years later, when the study was concluded, there was no proof that this particular preservative caused autism. It has been removed from the shots, and yet autism and the rates of autism are still increasing. There are some people who say that vaccines in general are not safe. They feel like the diseases are a risk, but the diseases the risk of the disease is lower than the risk of the vaccine. So they are a vocal community getting published and spreading their word. But all the newspapers and studies and reports are pretty weak to support their position. Of course, when people see these articles, they get scared and they want to not inoculate their children, and then the number of children with diseases or people with diseases can increase again because they're not inoculated. So it's this vicious cycle that keeps happening over and over again, that as the diseases increase and become more prevalent, people will do the immunizations, and as they go down, people don't see it as much, and then they don't get their immunizations. The CDC, or the Center for Disease Control, they have been an advocate of immunizations for a long time. They have supported it and always will. Here's a schedule of the shots that children should get and when they should get them. If you decide that you're ready to have your children inoculated, there is this chart, like you just saw, about when and what kind and which type you should do. And the chart basically explains everything about how old the child should be and what kind of inoculations there are, if they need it 2 times, 3 times, etc. So you can look at that. And then for more information, you can contact the CDC. If you need any more information about diseases, immunizations, anything like that, the CDC has information, and their website is up here at www.cdc.gov. Thank you.